And good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host. Together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and of course, on Simul TV. Now, if you'd like to watch the X Zone TV show and the other great programs that we have available for you, 724, 365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network, all you need to do is go to www.xzbn.net, and to watch the X Zone TV channel that is exclusive to our good friends at Simul TV, visit www.simultv.com, and our channel number is 54. On tonight's show, in our final hour, I'm really excited to speak to Bart Sibrel. Now, Bart is the gentleman who came up with this movie, gosh, it's got to be 10, 15 years ago, called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And Bart interviewed or tried to get members of the Apollo mission teams who walked on the moon or who went to the moon to actually swear on the Bible that they went to the moon and landed on the moon. Well, I believe it was Buzz Aldrin who punched Bart Sibrel in the head, and Edgar Mitchell's son, after the interview, Bart had left a microphone there by mistake, no trickery, asked Edgar Mitchell if he wanted to call the CIA and have Bart taken care of. Now, if this is all part of the NASA, why would they do this if they really did go to the moon? That's been one of the major questions I've been asking myself. Why would they not put their hand on the Bible and swear on the Bible that they went to the moon or they were on the moon? Why would Buzz Aldrin punch Bart Sibrel in the head? And why would Edgar Mitchell's son get so upset that he asked his father, who, by the way, I believe kicked Bart, if he wanted him to call the CIA and have Bart taken care of? There's more to this story than meets the eye, and we tried to get a hold of James Fetzer, who is a professor, and he is a conspiracy expert. He was on with us last week, but we had audio issues, and we did not release that show because we didn't want to send anything out that was anything but the very best to you, the members of the X Zone Nation. So we're going to try and get James Fetzer back on the air with us and have him come on and discuss more of the story behind the story when it comes to the moon landing. Was the moon landing hoaxed? Are you a believer or are you a skeptic? Send me your email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. We also have Gwilda Wiyaka coming on in hour number 2. We're going to be talking to Gwilda about shamanism in modern day society. What is shamanism? How can shamanism help you? What can you learn from shamanism? And shamanism has been around for over 50,000 years. Interesting topic. Now, Gwilda is the host of 2 very successful and popular shows here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on the X Zone TV channel. The first one is Mission Evolution, and she's been doing that show for a number of years. It airs weekly on radio and television, and she does a vignette series entitled Stairway to Heaven. Now, if you'd like to find out more about Gwilda in preparation for her interview with us here on the X Zone, visit www.missionevolution.org. And for all the information about Stairway to Heaven, visit www.stairwaytoheavenmedia.com. Kate Kunkel is going to be with us in hour number 3, and we're going to be talking about the brain and music and audio. She's a very interesting lady. We've had her on the show before, and she's one of our fans' favorites. So that's still coming up tonight here in the X Zone. Now, you're probably saying, Rob, what about the guest in the first hour? Well, he's a no-show. He confirmed with us earlier today that he'd be with us, and we're watching our monitors here to see if he does log on with us. His name is James Farquhar, and we were going to be talking to James, who is a biblical scholar, about 666 and the Bible Code. Now, he's written a number of books, and we're very interested in talking to him about how the Bible fits into society when there's so much going on. We have wars, we have COVID that's happened and still going on. We have people who are hungry around the world, the political unrest, the monetary up and down, up and down. People are losing their homes all over the place. What in the name of heaven is going on? That was going to be one of my major questions to James. What is heaven doing about everything that is happening right here, right now? What is Jesus waiting for the second coming of Christ? Why doesn't he just come down now and do something positive? Why doesn't he just do something positive and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he, just like the extraterrestrials, are real? Are you a skeptic or are you a believer? Well, people ask me that all the time. They say, Rob, you've been doing your show for 33 years. Are you a skeptic or are you a believer? And my answer is very simple. I want to be a believer. I want to believe. But I want to see proof. I want to see the facts. What was the name of the lady, Craig, who did the, Wendy's commercial? Where's the beef? I want to know where the truth is. What the truth is. Why are so people eager and gullible just to take somebody's word that they saw a Bigfoot, they saw a UFO, and they saw a ghost, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Why are we so eager to believe? What is it in us that makes us want to believe anything? I don't. I really don't. I have a hard time believing without seeing the truth. And in my books, the truth are the facts, the evidence. Now, I know what you're saying, Exo Nation. Well, Rob, just because you don't believe or you don't see or somebody doesn't take the picture, the evidence that would satisfy you, that doesn't mean it really doesn't happen. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But in my book, after doing this show for 33 years, Exo Nation, nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing. The UFO scenario has not changed. With all the modern technology and the high technological advances that we've made in camera, photography, my goodness, everybody's cell phone has a high definition camera in it, and yet no one has taken that all-conclusive proof photograph that UFOs are real. My goodness, even the gunship or the gun camera from the United States Navy that allegedly took the UFO Tic Tac and filmed it is under scrutiny. My question is, why would the United States Navy send up a jet that was not armed except with a camera to intercept a UFO or a bogey? That makes no sense to me. Well, unless somebody in the chain of command knew exactly what was going on. Was this a test to see if they were able to evade radar, evade detection, get into a simulated dogfight with the jets that were sent to intercept them? And what were these pilots supposed to do? Crash their jets into the UFO? I don't think so. There's more to this story. And I know that there's a lot of people in the UFO community who are out there saying, oh, this is proof. We're finally getting disclosure. No, you're not. You're getting more bullcrap. And you're perpetrating more shoveling of this bullcrap if you really believe it. And if you go out and you start spreading the manure. Gosh, if you want to grow a vegetable garden, manure is pretty good. It's the best fertilizer. If you want to spread that on your garden, go right ahead, but don't spread it here on my show. Over the years, many years, I think, Craig, what is it? Over 5,672 guests. Guests ranging from people who have seen Jesus in their toast to people who have had encounters with angels. People who believe in their heart of hearts. Those people I put in my hand, and I'll show you right here, and I kind of protect them because they are true believers. They're not out to make any money. They're not out to make any statement. They're not out for their 15 minutes of fame. They've had an experience that they cannot explain. They've had an experience that they want to share because they want to know if anyone else out there has had the very same experience that they have had. They're, in my opinion, true believers. But when you get people on the show who all they want to do is promote their book, or all they want to do is promote a symposium where they're going to be talking about UFOs or ghosts, I question their validity. I question their reason for doing what they do. Now, that doesn't mean everybody is like that. Please don't get me wrong. There are so many people out there who try their very best, whether they are UFO investigators, Bigfoot investigators, ghost investigators, who try their very best to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that these entities, these paranormal phenomena exist. I'll give them as much time as I can. But when it comes to people that are out there to scam, who are out there to make a fool of my listeners, that's where I get upset. And that is where I will do my best to decloak them. Maybe that's what I should have done with our guest this hour, J.W. Farquhar, who just didn't show up. No reason, no emails, no communications. Here we are nearly 13 minutes after the show started. Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I know what happened. He was abducted by aliens. I wonder if he is in the same spaceship that Travis Walton was in. When we come back from this break, let's talk about those UFO contactees. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back after this very short message. Whatever you do, don't go away. And if you see J.W. Farquhar with Bigfoot or with a ghost or with a UFO extraterrestrial, please tell him to get in touch with us because he was supposed to be our guest this hour. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. Send me your emails, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. And don't forget the X-Zone TV channel is exclusive to Simul TV, channel 54. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all other social media, X-Zone Radio TV. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network. And these shows are broadcast on Simul TV, where we have our own channel, and it's channel 54. All right, still to come on tonight's show, Gwilda Wiyaka, Kate Kunkel, and Bart Sibrel. And if you're a believer in the Americans landing on the moon, then you'll want to hear what Bart has to say. He's going to be talking to us about a deathbed confession that was made by somebody who had inside and first-hand knowledge. In fact, he was there when the moon hoax film was actually created. Interesting gentleman, interesting topic. Yeah, it's going to be controversial. Yeah, I know that. But there's three sides to every story, isn't there? His side, her side, and the truth. Before we go any further, X-Zone Nation, I'd like to pass the condolences of the X-Zone Nation as well as REL-MAR McConnell Media and all our subsidiaries to our good friend Larry Lawson, who was the host of a paranormal stakeout. I learned earlier today that Larry's father-in-law passed away, and to Larry and his family, our condolences. You're in our prayers, and we're here for you, my friend. Okay, we were talking about Travis Walton. Now, there's a little bit of a wingnut if I ever talk to one. Okay, here you've got this guy who claims that he was... let's start at the beginning of the story, okay? He was in the forest with a team. His best buddy, Mike Rogers, was the crew chief. And they were working late clearing out brush. And they decided to to leave, and as they were leaving, they saw this UFO. Now, apparently, the way the story goes is that Travis Walton jumped out of the truck, went towards the UFO. It zapped him, bzzz, and what did Mike Rogers and the other guys in the truck do? Well, they just buggered off. They did not stick around to see how their buddy was. They just kind of buggered off, and away they went. Then it dawned on them, well, maybe we should go back and see what happened to Travis. Well, they go back to where they saw the UFO and where the UFO zapped Travis, and guess what? Travis wasn't there. So they assumed, and we know what happens, Exo Nation, when we assume something. It makes an ass out of you and an ass out of me. That he was teleported up into the UFO, and the UFO took off to God only knows where. Days later, according to Travis, he was returned to Earth by the UFO. He was left, I believe, in Herbert, Arizona. He made a telephone call from a phone booth that was conveniently there where the extraterrestrials dropped him off. And I forget who went and got him. Maybe it was Mike Rogers. I'm not sure. But he was picked up, brought back into town, went to the sheriff, and the story goes on and on and on. His claim to fame is that he passed all the lie detector tests. Wrong, he didn't. He was on a television show, and the validity of the alien abduction was put into question, and with the lie detector test. And guess what? He failed. He failed. He did not pass that test. And yet, if you listen to Travis Walton and his crew and all the people now who are Travis Walton believers, oh, he passed every test. It's real. It's real. No, it's not. He did not pass every test. And my question is, what would happen if he had been abducted today with all the scientific testing that we have available to us? What would those tests have found? Now, it's no secret that Travis Walton liked to indulge in a little bit of smoke once in a while. Hey, what he does at home is his own business, I guess. Here up in Canada, it's legal for recreational purposes, but back then it wasn't. So, what really happened? There's a theory out there that he actually planned this because he was a sci-fi freak. He loved watching all these sci-fi shows. That he actually planned this alien abduction. That he actually spent the days missing in a forest ranger tower that wasn't very far from the scene of where he was allegedly zipped up. He's made his living off of the lectures he does, personal appearances he does. He's even got people who are fool enough to do a film about him. And in fact, there was a film called Fire in the Sky that, I don't know, that was supposed to be of his encounter, his abduction. James Garner, the guy from the Rockford Files, played the sheriff. Woohoo! In my opinion, Travis Walton was not abducted. This was all part of a scheme, a scam. And you know what? Too many people fell for it. And people are still falling for it today. Except Mike Rogers is starting to say, something fishy about it. Nobody saw him getting zapped up into the UFO. Nobody knows where he really went. People say that Mike is doing this because Travis is getting all this money and Mike Rogers is getting none of it, or a little bit of it. We had Mike Rogers on the show. Our good friend Kevin Randall, who is the host of A Different Perspective here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, had Mike Rogers on. And the story just doesn't ring true. In fact, when I was listening to the show, I really believed that Mike Rogers wanted to say it was all a hoax. It was all a hoax. It never happened. This is what happened from the minute it started to the end. But he didn't. He came very, very, very close to doing that. But he didn't. Okay, so that's Travis Walton. Betty and Barney Hill, don't buy it. I really don't buy it. Kathleen Martin and the late Stanton T. Friedman, man, they rode that gravy train. Betty was a little bit of a wingnut, according to some people. You know, she loved to embellish the fact that she was abducted. She went to Zeta Reticuli, and what was this? What was it, Craig? At the star map. Once again, no proof. No proof whatsoever that she was ever in contact with extraterrestrials. Now, here's something that really boggles me about that whole story. Apparently, Betty and Barney came to Canada and were on their way home. And apparently, Barney had a revolver or a pistol with him. Barney was a postman. He was African American. Betty was Caucasian. I think that's pretty cool, personally. But the fact that doesn't rub right with me is the fact that he had a gun. Now, when you come to Canada, you just can't bring your guns with you. I'm sorry. We do not have the right to bear arms unless we're wearing a short sleeve shirt. That's the only way we can, bear arms around here. And as a former police officer, I agree with that 150%. You carry a gun, you're looking for problems. But that's my belief. How could he bring a gun into Canada if that is illegal, unless he smuggled the gun into Canada, which puts his credibility and his integrity under the spotlight? Nobody mentions that. They all go on their merry way that, Betty and Barney Hill, they ushered in the alien abduction era. Okay, next on my list, of course, Roswell. Roswell has to be one of the biggest FUBARs that has ever happened within the UFO community. And I like to look at one simple fact that nobody else talks about, whether it's my good friend Kevin Randall or if it's any of the other Roswell investigators that I've had on the show, Kevin's had on his show, is that Jesse Marcel, the base intelligence officer, went out to Mark Brazel's farm, saw the debris field, picked up part of this debris, puts it in his Jeep. And what does he do? Does he drive right back to the base to maintain the chain of custody of what could be one of the biggest discoveries of all mankind? No. What does he do? Well, he drives home, wakes up his wife and son, brings the material into his house, and lets his son play with it. What kind of moron does that? He broke the chain of custody. The evidence is no longer secure. It's been tampered with. So how can anybody take anything that Jesse Marcel ever said as the truth? It makes no sense. A lot of people talk that it could be a Fugo, and they were balloons that the Japanese launched from various parts of their islands that went up into the Gulf Streams. I forget the exact wording, but they drifted over the United States. Now, Roswell happened 2 years after this, so we've got to wipe out the Fugos. But what about the other balloons that people talk about? What about the other balloons? And when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about that. Not all is what it seems to be when it comes to UFOs, X-Zone Nation. If the UFOs were really out there, all they needed to do to prove their existence was just land on the White House lawn, land on Parliament Hill here in Canada, land in the lawn of Buckingham Palace. And once again, my condolences to the royal family and with the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And God save our new king, King Charles III. Or Red Square. But they don't. Why is it that they usually make their appearances to insignificant people and not the people who could actually make the decisions and who had the credibility and the ability to go forward with the exposure? It makes no sense. They're not out there. And why can't people just leave certain things alone? I think many members of the UFO community are causing more issues into the national security of the United States and Canada by sticking their nose into the UFO phenomenon than anything else. Like, why should the government have to tell so-called ufologists what is really going on? I sleep very well at night, and I know that my family does too, because there are men and women around the world who sit in aircraft cockpits 24 hours a day at the ready to go out and intercept and protect our countries from hostile forces. And if there is a technology out there that helps them to do that, ufologists, you have no business badgering the United States government or the government of Canada. Please, get a life, get a job, get a real hobby. Stop being an armchair, what are they called, armchair quarterbacks. You're wrong. Face it, you're wrong. Prove me wrong. You know how to get a hold of me, X-Zone at xzoneradiotv.com, and I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell, and like I said, whether you're a skeptic or a believer, I want to hear from you. X-Zone at xzoneradiotv.com. And welcome back, everyone. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. And before we went to the break, we were talking about balloons. We were talking about Fugo, that there are those people who believe that that is what happened at Roswell, New Mexico. And then there are the other people who are more realistic than the people who believe, in my opinion, that a UFO crashed in the middle of Roswell. Why the hell a UFO would want to land there, God only knows. Who believe that what they're actually seeing and what the evidence is of a Mogul, Project Mogul. Now, Mogul was a top secret government project where they launched balloons, like weather balloons, way up high into the sky. And what these balloons would do, they had listening devices on them that would listen for detonation of nuclear blasts. And there is evidence that what crashed in Roswell was a Mogul. However, the people who want to keep this hoax alive, they dispute it. They will dispute it left, right, and center. They know the facts. They know the names of people. They know everything about the case, except they don't know what the heck crashed. And like I said before, with Jesse Marcel, the base intelligence officer, base intelligence officer, Jesse Marcel, now there's an oxymoron. With him, and I mean Jesse Marcel Sr., going out to the debris field, picking up the debris, and instead of going right back to the air base, he stops, takes it home, lets his kid play with it, and then gathers it back up, puts it back in the Jeep, and then takes off to the base. That is not how it is done. You would not want to do that if you were a base intelligence officer. You just wouldn't. Why would you? That would just be like me when I was a cop bringing home somebody in handcuffs for my kids to look at. You don't do that. You really do not do that. And this is another thing that the people who believe in this Roswell crash, they don't want to accept that. Oh, no, 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 no. I understand the city of Roswell is going to be putting up a statue to Jesse Marcel, because without him, what would Roswell be? Would anybody ever care about Roswell, New Mexico? Would anybody ever want to go to Roswell, New Mexico? I doubt it. But look what this crash has done for Roswell. They have a museum. They have a Roswell Crash Festival every year. They have people who learn about Roswell, and Roswell is the North American Mecca for ufologists, or as I call them, ufologists. Come on, guys, give your head a shake. Where's the proof? Where's the meat that UFOs are real? Where's the proof? Where's the meat that Travis Walton was really abducted by aliens? Where's the proof that Betty and Barney Hill were abducted by aliens? Where's the proof that the unknown object in Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia, was a UFO from outer space? Where's the proof that the UFO that was found or believed to have come down in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, was a UFO from outer space? Woo. No proof, and yet all these stories. Am I the only one who sits back and looks at it from a different side? Like, I want to believe. I really, really want to believe. But show me the facts. Show me the proof. Show me the evidence. But you can't. Because there is none. There is no evidence to support the claims that unidentified flying objects from another planet, another galaxy, another star system have or are visiting planet Earth. That evidence does not exist. Then you have the people who believe that there is a UFO or several UFOs that have crashed, that have been retrieved, and that are in military bunkers, and that the military and members of the scientific community have actually reversed engineered parts of these UFOs. And I say, wow, really? Then hello, why do we still use the propulsion systems that we use to go to the moon or to explore Mars instead of this marvelous, treasure chest of alien technology that we have? How come? Simple. It doesn't exist. It's a great story. It's a beautiful story. Science fiction writers, I love you guys. I really do. Then you got people like Charles Hall, who says that, what was it, Area 52? Area 52, where he worked as a weather man for the United States Air Force, is where the terminus or terminal for extraterrestrials, they'd come here to Earth, and they would kind of rejuvenate themselves, or take a rest stop, and he saw them. He communicated with them. He actually told us here on this show that he took them. He knew the difference. And yet he doesn't have one picture to substantiate it. Come on. This wasn't a one-time event. He did this on several occasions. How come he didn't take a picture? He could have easily taken a picture. Hey, take them into a photo booth in one of the hotels, or the girls that go around giving you drinks and taking pictures. Why not? No proof. Again, no proof. Why do we believe? Belief is the strongest power in the universe. If you believe you can move a mountain, well, you're not going to move it, but gosh darn it, get enough people believing in it, and enough people can actually move that mountain. The difference between a dream and reality is just doing it right. People dream of UFOs. People dream that there's got to be something out there. We cannot be the only living creatures in this entire existence. I don't think we are. I really don't. But why should we be so naive and believe that every living creature out in the vast universe are carbon-based units like us? I asked Dr. Seth Shostak from SETI, I said, how do we know they're not silicon-based or some other element that they could be right here and we would never know it if they did exist? I want to believe, Exxon Nation. I really do. And I keep doing my show every night, hoping that what I'm saying will fall onto the ears of somebody who can actually present the evidence, hardcore evidence. The kind that you can touch. You get the UFO wingnuts who say, well, if we would go to court, we could prove and win our case in court that UFOs and extraterrestrials are real. How? We came up with a show called Paranormal Court TV, where we invited all the people within the UFO community, ghost community, Bigfoot community to come on and present their case in our forum. They refused. Why? We called them on what their statements were. Bullcrap. They refused. We even went as far as to say, we'll pay for your airfare to come down here and put you under a polygraph test with a polygrapher of our choosing. Polygraph test, psychological stress evaluator test. They refused. Why? They don't want to blow their gig. Man, they've got it made. They're writing books, they're doing radio interviews, they get on all these wacky TV shows that are out there now. Why would they want to spoil the cash cow that probably would be mutilated anyway? So it's a strange world out there, Exxon Nation. But why don't I believe? Well, I've been talking to you now for 42 minutes and giving you my side of why I don't believe. Send me an email, exxon@exxonradiotv.com, and tell me why you believe. And welcome back. Yep, still here. Rob McConnell after 33 years. We started off doing a newspaper called the X Chronicles newspaper, which we still publish today. And then I received a call from Brian Wild, who used to work at 900 CHML in Hamilton. And he said, Rob, I'm going to make you an offer that you'd be silly to refuse. And the offer was to come on the Bill Kelly Show. And Bill is a very, very popular talk show host here in Hamilton. And I was with Bill for a week. And we discussed every aspect of the paranormal, UFOs, Bigfoot, Bermuda Triangle, the Great Lakes Triangle, every topic. After I finished with the Bill Kelly Show, and Bill, if you're listening, thank you, my friend. Without you, all this wouldn't be possible, buddy. The show went on. We were picked up and when I say we, I mean me, myself, and I at the time. The show was picked up at CKDX in Newmarket, Ontario. From CKDX in Newmarket, Ontario, we came to 1220 CHSC here in St. Catharines, not very far from our studios right now. And as the show grows, you move. From CKDX, we went to CJBK in London, Ontario. Now, from London, at London, I should say, the BBC came over and did a show on the X-Zone Call as part of their Contact series. Our show was so popular, the X-Zone, that Mark Simpson, who represented a satellite communication company that supplied all the satellite programming to different radio stations, wanted to take our show and syndicate it. But in order to do so, we had to go to a station that had the proper facilities. And I must say that I was really sad to leave CJBK in London. Super people. But then guess what, gang? I moved back to St. Catharines, where I went to 610 CKTB, News Talk 610 CKTB. And while there, I became the executive producer for the programming side of the stations. And was there a number of years. But in order to grow, once again, we moved. There was a transition that had to happen. And what we did was we took a little hiatus. We went to a local radio station, CFBU, stayed there for a while. And then the X-Zone was picked up by LWRN in the United States. And as soon as we were picked up there, we were in 36 markets in the United States. When that happened, we decided to do everything on our own. We had the equipment, we had the knowledge, we had the experience, we had our syndicator, and the X-Zone took off being syndicated. From LWRN, we were picked up by Talkstar Radio. And we were with Talkstar for 9-10 years. Once again, getting into markets that we were never in before. We were on 3 satellites, getting into right across Canada, the United States, into South America, Central America, then into Australia, then into the United Kingdom. And here we are today with our own network, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, radio, the X-Zone TV channel, television. We own the X-Zone Broadcast Network. We now own Talkstar Radio Network. We now own the Mutual Broadcast Network. And why? Because I had a dream. And I've been doing and living this dream for 33 years. But you know what? 33 years is a long time. It's a lot of shows. It's a lot of people. I've done psychic fairs. I've done symposiums. I've done remotes. My good God, I sat outside the Flying Saucer restaurant in Niagara Falls for I don't know how many months doing the show live from their Saturday nights. I've done the show live from the haunted parade grounds of in Kingston, Ontario. We've done the show live from the haunted Ottawa jail. And the list goes on and on and on. But you know what, X-Zone Nation? No proof. I keep going out and I keep doing this show 5 nights a week, 4 hours a night, plus the specials, plus our TV, plus. Why? I want to believe. So if you're out there and you can prove any of these things are real, please. I'm kind of getting tired. Send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. But you know what, X-Zone Nation? I don't think anybody's going to come forward with any evidence. I really don't. There are people out there who are making money on it, and the last thing they want to do is for any part of the paranormal to say, it's not true, Rob. It was a joke. Well, we know that the paranormal has joked because look at the crop circles. We found out that a great number of the crop circles were done by these guys in the United Kingdom. It was a joke. We know there have been UFO hoaxes. We know there have been ghost hoaxes. We know there have been Bigfoot hoaxes. So why do these people keep going? Because there's people out there who still believe in UFOs, ghosts, psychic predictions, and anything else that will give them the feeling that we're not alone, that there's more to this world than we actually know. We can prove what we can prove. We can prove that the world is real. We can prove that the sun will rise tomorrow. The moon will be there. There's so much that we can prove. But you know what we can't prove, Exonation? UFOs are real. Extraterrestrials are real. Bigfoot is real. Atlantis is real. Crop circles are real. And the list goes on and on and on. So, am I a skeptic or a believer? Well, I'm going to be a skeptic until somebody can show me the evidence. Show me the proof. Where's the beef? I want to see it. I want to touch it. And I want to say, my God, all these years I've been a skeptic. And look at this. The proof is finally here. I'll be back at the top of the hour with Gwilda Wiyaka as we talk about shamanism here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. Stand by. We'll return in approximately 8 minutes from now.